What a beautiful moment in time. I am so grateful to be here sharing it with all of you. Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. TGIF. That's for sure. What are we looking at today? I'm excited for this one. I'm excited in a laid back way. Whether or not we're going to be spitting fire, I have no idea. I'm looking at taking advantage of this time here together, making sure that we walk out of this session just with the clarity that we need going into the weekend. And the weekend is upon us. I will be active on Twitter if anything comes up. We're going to make sure that everyone who's here right now is able to go into the weekend with the confidence they need on their own. By the way, this Conquering the Markets game is active on Twitter all the time and getting even more active. We'll talk about that in a little bit. I do want to make sure that everyone has the clarity we need as we continue further. I did a bad job, I believe, yesterday in communicating when I said that I was on the sidelines. I was talking solely and only about my lightly leveraged Bitcoin position. I know that there's no one more bullish, or should I say realistically bullish, about Bitcoin than myself. Now, we do see some people out there who get a little bit, I don't know, ahead of themselves. Bitcoin $1 million, $1.2 million, and things like that. But I'm talking about someone dialed in being more bullish. I have held on and will hold on, of course, whether or not it's my GBT position, my BTC position. When I'm talking about being on the sideline, that was a lightly leveraged position. That exit was at 51,500, right? You can see price has risen about, let's call that, I'm losing numbers here. Well, $1,500 since over here as we're trading right now. By the way, I didn't call out the price. Bitcoin, $53,000. Let's take a look at the technicals before what we want to get into. And what do I want to get into? I want to get into what everyone is looking at over here as options are expiring, the pattern that we've seen over the last several months, and what it brings. All right, so here we go. Right now, what I am looking at over here and what I want to look at next is are we going to see this bottom out today? We are currently still trading within this bull flag, right? I just want to point it out. Oh boy, are we going to find the flow today or what? This is the bull flag. We're still trading within. Now, I'm not going to go back and tell you why I exited. I didn't exit on the trend line break. I waited for confirmation that we were breaking down. We had the breakdown, the retest. On the resumption down, I got out on my lightly leveraged position. I saw someone else. I'm not familiar with who it is. There's a chart over here I want to share with you. Who is this guy? You guys might be familiar with him. Galileo, right? Whoever he is, I'm not really sure. But he goes on and noting, he's like, listen, just like myself, he's like, I'm more bullish than anyone and have been. I am, right now, he's selling short. I am not, right? And he's like, at the same time, I still remain uber bullish, using our same terminology. We'll talk about that later. But what I want to focus in on what's happening right now in front of us. And then since we bounced over here, we looked at this yesterday, the extended lower end of the bull flag. This was not masterfully done on my part. I have to say, this was what I would look at, and I always want to learn, especially from my mistakes. This was not even close to masterfully done. I was in the right place, no question about that. I put this out over here on the Discord group before we came into it. I circled that and I said, listen, watch out as we come and test that lower end of support. But I could have waited a little bit further, no question about that. I wanted to respect well, actually, I take that back as I'm reviewing this. First of all, what I'm doing here is probably the most important thing I could do. I'm reviewing what I perceive to be a mistake. You know, that's where I learn the most. As I'm reviewing it, I'm going into it and be like, yeah, this was not the best. I could have done a lot better. And once I'm reviewing it, 51,500, that was the level I had. There's a lot. And by the way, when I talked about I was lightly leveraged and more, I mean, I was lightly leveraged and more. I don't even want to tell you what $1,000 move on Bitcoin meant for me, either which way. I did the right thing by lighting up my wrist, no question about it. Respecting my initial analysis is actually a huge check mark, and sticking to it when it's game time and getting out under the pressure, that is what takes courage. That was the right thing to do. Now, could I have performed better? Yeah, it's a tape to review, but I'm just going to go ahead and say, actually, I did the right thing over here. What I'm looking at since the bounce over here is that we're coming back in and we now have a test of that broken trendline support. It is right now this morning so far holding as resistance. that puts us in a bit of no man's land over here, okay? I'm waiting for the repair. I'm going to talk about extensively, as I did yesterday, what it would look like for me to get back fully positioned into Bitcoin lightly leveraged and then back fully positioned and more. All right. So before I do, I just want to say that this morning, right now, we are currently testing this broken trend line support. It's holding as resistance for so far. The next move is whether or not we get back above this trend line. That would be positive. That will be showing that we're looking at a repair taking place. And then at that point, we'll be looking to add. I'll show you how I will be doing it. Or if we're rejected over here, we start making lower lows. We have to watch this swing low over here, right over here. The print was about 50,300. If we resume down off of that, there is more pain ahead. Let's talk about these last Fridays of the month as we have these options expiring. And I want you to notice, well, everyone, I believe everyone across Twitter, right, from what I see, has been looking at this all morning and evening long. No question about that. You're looking over here. This is going back to October, right? Going into the options expiring. By the way, we just started the bull market over here. We just broke out into the bull market over here. You notice once we get into January, there's a difference. I'll point that out in 1 second to you. But you could see over here each month going into the options expiration, we traded down. I'll show you the percentages in a moment. And then shortly thereafter, really started, rocketing again, right? Each and every time. There was a difference between January and February. The difference between January and February is it took 2 days. It took 2 days before we started putting that upward movement in. Each of those instances, we tested the low. If that were to happen again, that would mean testing 50,300, holding it, and then resuming off. This is a big area to watch over here this weekend. Over here, I think the biggest. It's important whether or not this pattern remains. When I say this pattern of after the options expiration of us resuming the trend upwards, or whether or not we have everyone now noticing this pattern, and why there's a little bit of a debate about how many people are focused in on this. From what I gather, most people, involved in, let's call it crypto Twitter, are absolutely understanding what's going on over here. So is this time different? When we're going to talk about max pain in a second and what that means. Is this time different as when the market is not inflicting max pain as per what would inflict the most damage for those holding options, both long and short? But afterwards, everyone all of a sudden, piling into the trade this afternoon, and then all of a sudden the rug being pulled out for them. This is why I follow the technicals, and this is why I will only begin adding to my position as we repair what's happening on the chart technically. There is no big deal for myself, right, between 51,500 and when we're full-blown, or I'm full-blown, green light above this trend line over here, which is let's call it 57,500. That's a $6,000 difference on Bitcoin. I'm looking at six-figure Bitcoins, and I'm not looking at $100,000 Bitcoin, right? No, whether it's $250,000, $350,000, a 6,000 move on Bitcoin is really just noise and irrelevant to me. I'd rather manage my risk and make sure that I'm safe as we continue over here. I want to focus in on this over here with you. This is Max Payne over here. This is a beautiful chart shared with me. I would like to see who this is on Twitter. Hold on 1 second over here. This is Coiner Yadex. All right. So let me go ahead and just like this over here before we look at it. Right. He's showing over here Max Payne, and you can see this white horizontal line over here in each one. Notice in the December breakout, when Bitcoin really started breaking all those correlations, was up 100% in a few weeks. That's when something different happened. Prior to then, we would come down pretty close to where the max pain level. The max pain level is where most people are getting hurt, whether they have calls or puts. Most people have options expiring worthless, the most pain. Ever since then, this is December over here, right? No, this is January. I take that back. In January over here, we actually came the closest to the max pain line there was. It was just off of it. That was a little bit of an oversight on my part. No question about that. And then last month in February, we were pretty high above it. We're now there's a lot of space over here. And this is the observation I'm making. because what that means to me is if you're not aware, this is the largest option expiry there is to date. We're the furthest away from the max pain level. Is that a sign of a uber, or should I say it, ultra bullish Bitcoin market that we're currently in, coming off the double pullback, right? Interesting that the double pullback each time has been caused by the end of the month options expiry. No question about that. But we're coming off a double pullback. I've been saying to you, because of the double pullback, I am not necessarily looking, right? I'm trying to find my chart over here. Because of the double pullback, I believe that we go up without putting this capitulation event, this V-shape that happened. Nevertheless, be aware on the first and second cycle at this particular time, we did see that large sell-off. Now, could the market put that in? Could it happen today after the options expire, catching the most traders off guard? How many retail traders are going to be jumping into Bitcoin today after the options expire fully and just say, it's time to get in, not waiting for a technical repair to get in? A lot of traders. Will it catch them off guard? I don't know. Maybe they get lucky. And when I say lucky, you're lucky if you enter a trade preemptively before you get a technical signal and it works out in your favor. That's actually setting up really detrimental behavior in the future. Your brain is going to remember that you entered a trade before getting any type of confirmation, and then you're going to be doing that going forward over and over again. The worst thing that you could do is make a mistake and make money. Your brain is just the same thing with picking a top or picking a bottom. Someone could pick a top one day and all of a sudden that trade dump, and then they're going to be picking tops the rest of their career until they're wiped out because they're never going to make money. So what I'm trying to enforce over there is you always, thank you, Pure Vita. Thank you, Pure Vita, for shutting that out over there. What I'm trying to enforce into you, this is a game of discipline. This is a game of being risk adverse. Jordan exited his lightly levered trade there as things got risky, and we saw that breakdown, that retest, and that resumption off. We're coming back in. We bounced. We're coming in for another retest. I don't know if that holds or not. I want to make sure everyone has the clearest view going forward when I will be re-entering. Right? By the way, this was shared on Twitter this morning. Let me jump over here as we begin talking about the repair. First, Alan over here on Twitter this morning pointing out that so far we have held the true nature of this bull flag over here. I was early in saying that we were watching a bull flag. A lot of people were watching the descending triangle at that point. I felt it was clear that I don't ever want to point anyone out and be like, oh no, look, but it is a bull flag. There's no question about that. It's still intact. Not only that, as I just pointed out over here, we are very far above the max pain level. This to me is ultra bullish. Now 51,500, that was my level that I gave all of you as above that is ultra bullish. I exited as price breached that myself. We only went down a little bit. Yes, I was late on pointing out the extension of the bull flag. I absolutely was. There's no question about that. I was very late. It wasn't until the morning that before we broke down, but as we're breaking down, I pointed that out on Discord. I pointed it out on the live stream. We were still down there as it happened. I just said, watch that level, but I was already out of the trade myself. I think it's a mistake. I think it's a slightly bent nail, but no problem. It's, I want to just focus in on that myself for a second. As I do all this analysis and share my insight with you, share my 20 plus years of experience with you, it's really, and this is not selfish, but it's for my benefit. It's what I do. It's how I feed my kids. Anyway, here we go. This was what I wanted to share with you. Alan continues to put out beautiful work over here, conquered the markets all day long. Another nice update by Alan AU. And it's beautiful. If you're not following him, make sure you're following him. I read this in my timeline this morning. First signs of a Bitcoin repair. And I said to myself, that's interesting. Rob follows the channel. There's no one else out there. I don't follow anyone else. I taught myself to trade. There's no one else that talks about repair, right, of technical damage. And he's pointing this out over here. I wanted to focus in on it. If you're conquering the markets, I want to know what's up. And he's pointing out this could be the first possible sign of a repair. He put this trend, this is conquering the markets TA, no question about it. And he put in and he showed us, look, we came in there. As soon as this was support, we broke down. Once we got back above that, that's the first possible sign that we're seeing a repair take place. It's good TA. There's for sure. That's why I'm highlighting it with you all. Nevertheless, I'm still waiting. I'm not going to enter here aggressively. I am concerned that we could see still a bigger drop. When I say I'm concerned, I'm looking at this and it tells me two things, right? It tells me either that right now, do you see this is sideways? This is, what is this, a 14% drawdown over here? I think I have another chart showing the drawdowns. Let me look over 1 second with you, right? I don't. All right, let's keep going over here. This is funny though. This was shared in the morning. You know, Pure Vita, I don't think the market has recognized this pattern. These tweets are getting, I'm sorry, I lost the part. My response is each month, I think this time may be different. I know that we come and we draw down each month into the options expiry. I don't trade around it. You know, I'm following what's happening on the charts on price. But each time I think in my head, well, I don't want to, you know, preemptively position myself for a sell-off in the market, because to me, the risk is always to the upside during this bull market phase. The risk is always to the upside during the bull market phase for me. This is the first time at the 4-year cycle in this bull market phase, trading Bitcoin nightly leverage, that I ever put myself on the sidelines. Now, yeah, that's, you know, Bitcoin, unleveraged Bitcoin, I'm holding strong, no question about that, and I will through the duration of the bull market. Oh, that brings me up. There was something else I wanted to highlight. It was in reminiscence of a stock operator, the story of Jesse Livermore, what I consider the greatest trading book ever written. And he talks about, you know, the only way to trade a bull market is holding the whole time, looking to sell at the peak. Exactly what we do in Bitcoin. I'll try to pull that up if I remember so we could talk about it on Monday. All right. 437 likes. Thanks everyone here this morning. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks for connecting. Thanks Heath. Big shout out to Heath. Continues to put out massively good work on Trade Talk, this community. And Heath's been here since the day one. We were talking about this yesterday afternoon. We started this off, by the way. What was it? End of October, November 2019. There would be 15 of us. Then it became 30 for months. The same people each and every day. Heath was here since the beginning. You know, smash the like button for him. All right, let's keep going. What was I getting at? What I'm getting at is over here, right? That what I'm seeing over here is as we're looking at the largest, and will that continue as the price of Bitcoin rises? I think so throughout the duration of the bull market. We're going to still see and continue to see record levels of options set to expire month over month. But what we're looking at over here is price basically going close to sideways during this massive event. It looks like a spring coiled back. The risk is to the upside. There's no question about that. You can't get left behind. So right now, we're all aware of the downside, right? And when I say aware of the downside, if we break this level over here at 50,300, right? We're looking next over here somewhere around, let's call it, you know, there's good support over here around $47,000. Right? And then if we break that, at that point, things get messy. People are talking about the max pain level worked out math-wise is 44,000, right? Could we go lower? This could be the big one, or at least be prepared for it. We always talk about 30% plus drawdowns, and that's more aligned towards that 30% level. It is possible. This one could be the one that catches all of us off guard. That's why I'm out lightly leveraged. It is possible we see a 38, 39% drawdown, taking us down towards 38,000. Just make sure that you're aware of the risk. When does this get better? When am I looking to really attack to the downside? I'm telling you that, look, we're looking at this really tightly coiled market. It looks like it wants to jump up. If we looked at what happened past cycles at this particular time, it's when we go vertical. That's a big move over here. That's a big move over here. Now, both of those were preceded by a big, massive drawdown that was tight and quick, taking a lot of traders out of the market. No question about that. Could that happen again? Yes. Am I prepared for it? Well, I'm super prepared for it. I'm on the sidelines, lightly leveraged. No question about that. If this starts making new all-time highs, and am I going to be fully positioned? Yes. Do I want to wait to the new all-time high to get fully positioned? No. When will I get fully positioned? The first time I will look to attack on the upside, assuming price does not take out this low over here at 50,000, the swing low of 50,300. The next time I will look to attack would be if we traded above this broken trend line, which is now acting as resistance. Not on the breakout above, right? Because I would be afraid of seeing a spike above and then taking me back down. Nope, I'm waiting for confirmation over here. And I don't know what time frame I'll be doing it on. It could be the 2 hour, it could be the 8 hour. I will be putting charts out on Twitter as I'm looking and watching, so you know what I'm watching, right? I don't know. I'm flexible, I'm open. It depends how quickly price is moving, right? But what I'm looking at is over here is a breakout and a retest and a resumption off. That's the first time I add. There's no question about it. The second time I add is going to be on a break of the trend line over here, right? The third time I add would be on a retest of that breakout if it occurs. It doesn't always occur. If it occurs and we resume off, that will be the third time I add. And it could look like this. It could look like a breakout and then a retest of this. It doesn't have to be a retest of this, the top resistance of the bull flag. It could actually be a retest of this trend line over here, which was support, now acting as resistance, right? A resumption off thought. That's the third time I add. And then as we make new all-time highs, or maybe not as we make the top tick, maybe slightly below it, maybe above, right over here, above this little resistance, these two touches over there. But in that area, that's the point at which I'm fully positioned and more, looking as we go back into price discovery. That right there is what I'm watching on the upside, waiting and watching for a repair. Now I have an advantage this time. What's my advantage? Is because I'm completely sidelined right now. And by the way, it is meaningless to me, exiting over here at 51,500. And by the time I get fully positioned in this, that's being risk averse. That's what I want to do in this particular situation. If we crash, right? And by say crash, I mean take out this swing low over here and Bitcoin starts to go under pressure, I have a distinct advantage this time on my lightly leveraged trading. And that's the fact that instead of as price goes down and I have to deleverage, which means I'm taking, a hit on my overall balance, right? Lightening up my position, taking losses, and having to wait for price to recover to start adding again on the repair and getting fully positioned again. This time I could scale in. This is how I trade strategy number 2 of the bull market when I'm just buying unleveraged Bitcoin. This time I have a distinct advantage. That's why I feel like I'm in a position of power. I mean, I know I'm in a position of power, right? So anyway, that's where we are. It takes Brian, thank you, And that's what it is? There was a day here, most of you won't remember, but there was a day here last year where my line was triggered. It was triggered so bad that I couldn't complete a sentence. Yeah, I was here on the live stream. I couldn't complete a sentence. And when that happened, I said to everyone, all right, listen, I apologize. I'm having a very difficult time right now. Everyone could see. It was sad. And I said, you know what? I'm going to stay on today an extra hour and fight through this, right? When things are not easy, that's when you have to put the most effort and work in. Now, it's true, the last couple of weeks, we've had fire session upon fire session upon fire session, right? And it's not always like that. But when it's not like that, and when things are the most difficult, that's when you need to work the hardest and push the most. That's the difference between being successful and doing legendary things and being average. We're not looking to be average. We're looking to change lives, and we're looking to change the world. And that's what we do. Thanks, Giles. I mean, and that's what we do here, right? We're just always looking to give our best, to do our best, putting the most work in, right? And going. Anyway, what else we got going on today, right? We got thank you, my brother. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for your heart. Ah, Andy, thank you. Man, remembers that. Reza, right back at you. Right back at you, brother. I love you all. Keith, man, of course you remember. Keith has been here each and every day, forever. All right. What else is going on? We're pretty prepared on Bitcoin, right? So we get to look at other markets, look at the markets, and see what else is going on. We're going to check in on the dollar. Everyone here should have that, well, at least should see Bitcoin as clearly as I do right now going into the weekend. No matter what happens, we are prepared for everything. That's how we do. What else are we looking at? We got some other things to look at. I want to look at the DXY. Before we do, look at the symmetry between 4 years, the bull market. We're looking at the bull market right now in 2021. The last move was in 2017. You could see the clear symmetry over here. The one difference is this move over here and perhaps this move over here. This move over here is the thing that you're all familiar with when we had that move over there. It's symmetry again. You know, look what's different over here is we haven't had these yet. It could happen. Is that because the institutions are here, the massive buying, the massive buying walls that are being put in? Maybe. I'm prepared for it. Watch what happens though. Just extend in your mind a trend line like this, right? Follow my mouse if you can. If you can't watch this right now, if you're just listening in the car, at the gym, big shout out to you. But right now, what I'm doing is I'm showing a trend line connecting the swing tops over here with my mouse and extending it down. By the way, breakout, retest, resumption. By the time you break that trend line above is when you want to be fully positioned on more. Back here in real time today, that's the top of the bull flag we're looking at. That's that line extended down. Now, why I'm pointing that out to you is because over here, right now, this is what we're looking at. I'm just extending down that bull flag line over there. By the time we break above, that's when you want to be fully positioned. It's not on the breakout of this, right? It's not on the break of the all-time high, which is also is a good point to be, make sure that you're back into the trade, but you're leaving a lot on the table. Just a little bit of extra perspective. I don't know who this is. This is Kalo. I'm not following him. Let's give him a follow over here. And let's say for this one, pretty chart. Thanks for sharing. What else we got going? Look, I don't talk much, but this group community is so good, intelligent, and positive. They're not talking about me at all. They're talking about conquering the markets. They're talking about all of you, right? I'm in several private communities and crypto groups. The insanity that is circling the market is deafening. I'm so happy to read comments here as through Jordan. Also, highlighting the Conquering the Markets group, and also from Jordan, Brandon, Heath, and others, Alan P. Big shout out. To be honest, since everyone is so bearish, I bet we moon. Boom, 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 boom. What about, dude, this is probably a dumb question. I'm sure Jordan mentioned this at some point in his streams. When we get to the top, should we just convert to stable coins or convert and short Bitcoin with minimum leverage? You have to follow the Conquering the Markets recommended playlist, exiting Bitcoin training session. You're going to enjoy it. This over here is very important. Big shout out, by the way. If I get the pronunciation wrong, I apologize to all of Iceland. My little brother loves Iceland. He would know for sure. Hello from Reykjavik, Iceland. Jordan, been following you for a very long time. Thank you for your dedication and clear, sometimes quite funny, insights. Could you talk a little about your Bitcoin exit strategy as it relates to the possibility of exchanges choking and shutting down from a flood of orders like Coinbase? Coinbase always goes down as the market pumps, huh? I use 4 exchanges right now to prepare. Any other ideas? Yes. Look, you have 4 different exchanges. You're covered. I do not think that many people are going to be exiting Bitcoin when we do. I think that most people have it wrong. I think we're going to be ahead of the game. I don't think you should worry. If you have multiple exchanges, just in case, right? Bitcoiners teach you to kind of play it out and always be prepared for everything. You got 4 exchanges. I think you're good. Don't even worry about it. And not only that, I don't think there's going to be a flood of orders as we exit. I think there's going to be a flood of buy orders as we exit. I think that everyone is going to be extraordinarily bullish. This time is different, and we're going to be exiting. I think you're good, and I think that's important to discuss and talk about. Thanks for bringing that up over here today. Let's go back and talk about the markets. We got the DXY is what we'll start with over here. DXY, right? Coming into the resistance that I'm talking about. Now, I ask you, or as I show this chart to you, you have to discern what you think, right? So we had the resistance over here, right? This was now, I mean, come on, Jordan. Let's flip that over to support, was this the retest right over here, you know? Because possibly it was. I don't know that it was. It possibly was. It would be very aggressive, in my opinion. But and I talked about that sometimes you just get a down bar retest and then a strong moving market and up. I am looking at over here. I was looking for a move into 92.80, right? We came a little bit higher into 92.90. I'm looking for a move into here and then the retest to coming in. So I'm looking for the second option. Now, some of you could say, no, I think we had a retest over there. There's no question about that. I'm still looking for a retest. I'm going to be watching intently what happens. Obviously, these markets close over the weekend. Absolutely ridiculous. But anyway, they do, right? These how do you call them? Let's call them traditional finance markets over here, right? As if the world stops over the weekend that the market's closed. I'm looking for the retest. We're finally putting in, perhaps, unless we take that out, this bar, a lower high. That's what I was looking and waiting for. Tiny bit above the rate. I was looking at 92.80. We came into 92.90. That's pretty close. Let's see what happens on the retest. It's a big one and it's important. I am not calling my trend change in my dollar bias until that's confirmed. If we resume off that, at that point, we're going to have a circle that stays on the chart. And I'm going to say I've moved my bias over here. And that's that. All right. So that's important, but this is not tradable. It's Friday anyway. Just for anyone who's new or following us now, listen, as Friday, once New York comes to the office, I stop taking trades. Through London, though, overnight, Friday, London session before New York gets to the office, those are live signals and trades, no question about that. This is going to be a big deal come next week on Monday. We'll continue to track it. What else do we have going on? Let me check out the equity markets really quick over here. So I'm trying to see right now. Let me clean this up. This is the past. We don't need to focus on that anymore. I'm looking over here at the S&P 500, and I'm trying to see this bull flag. No question about it. Have we broken out over there? It's debatable. It looks like it possibly could be. And if we take out that high, you have to say that's a breakout, a retest, and a resumption off. Okay, that could happen this session over here. Be very, very, very careful about entering a trade from this point on a Friday. You don't have the possibility for that trade to get into enough profit where you can move your stop loss to break even. You don't want to be holding a new virgin trade over the weekend when the markets are closed. Not a good idea. Things could happen, but we're just looking at this and we're saying, all right, this is possibly getting ready to resume off. Patient pays. What about the Nasdaq? Nasdaq is looking a lot different. Nasdaq continues to have that breakdown and then that retest holding as resistance, that broken support, and trying to resume off. Has not made a lower swing low. Yeah, it has. It made a lower swing low overnight, right? Under pressure. No question about that. So we're looking at a mixed market. Mixed market. We have the Dow looking pretty solid. Nasdaq continuing to look pretty weak. Now, do I also see this at the same time? Do you see that pattern playing out over there? That's not the best look. Let me go ahead and just do that. Like, try to get those angles at the same level. Like that. Is that a bull flag after the breakout? It is. So what that means to you, what that means to me is we're looking above this area over here. A breakout of this would be bullish for the Nasdaq. It would be very bullish. Consolidation, breakout, retest, another bull flag, resumption off. But right now, definitely it continues under pressure and a mixed market on a Friday. All right, what else? Gold continues to hold and to, let's say, consolidate right above that resistance, right? Not much going on. That's like watching paint dry right now, but that only means it's going to be getting ready for a big move, okay? So we'll continue to watch that. Silver over here, still under pressure. You can see also here, this is pretty good. right? You can see that angle over there. That comes back up to the new highs like that. That looks like she could be getting ready to roar. Continue watching over here. A breakout of that trend line over there. That would be under the 2630 resistance that I've had you focused on for a while. At this point, though, a breakout of there or successful retest and a resumption, that would give an entry about 50%, 50 cents lower. And that's an active entry. That will be a good one. We'll check it as it happens. I'm just preparing you ahead of time for what looks like could possibly happen. That way, as it unfolds in real time, it's just like, okay, I was looking for this. I was waiting for this. Now it's occurring and I'm ready, right? That's how we do it. Let me throw that in for next week. We're going to be following and watching that, right? 751 likes. Thank you, everyone, for smashing that like button and supporting me, myself, my work, and the channel. I am grateful for it. Every time you do that, it opens the door for the Google algorithm to invite someone in here that could become conquering the markets to the core. I'm grateful for that, and I'm grateful for each and every one of you. What else? Let's take a look at my my Bitcoin to gold ratio over here, and there we go. And I guess that's just a little bit of noise for me right now. If I was looking to take another entry and position on this trade, we don't have enough of a pullback that it would be attractive to me. You could see that came into resistance so far. I'd be waiting and trading that off of what happens here, right? As we broke this trend line over there, I would, of course, on Bitcoin itself, I gave you the micro levels over here. I would just be waiting for a breakout to the top side of that bull flag before looking to position into that or a further big pullback. Ethereum coming in to check our resistance again. As Bitcoin blows out, or rockets up again, whether or not that's going to be today, whether or not that's going to be on Sunday, or we're going to have a prolonged correction and pullback, I don't have the answers to those things, but I do have a very clear, edge by following price and focusing on the technicals. When we get fully positioned and ready for it over there. Ethereum looking coiled and bullish over here, right? The markets, to me, continue to look ultra bullish over here, right? So there we go, getting ready for some possible fireworks and loving it and waiting. All right, let's take a look. Track field. This is a good question. I want to build off this, right? I'm very skeptical that you'll be able to time the Bitcoin top, but I hope you'll be right. Hello, I'll be averaging out. First of all, that's a pretty good way to skin the cat, averaging out. Nothing wrong with that, right? The exit at the top is going to be extraordinarily difficult. This is a great reminder because I want to start preparing for. Listen, I'm exiting the top of the cycle, but trying to exit the top here, it's extraordinarily difficult. There's nothing easy about it. You know, I've said before that, you know, if you get within 25% of the top, you crushed it. And that's entirely true. Do you want some type of perspective about how difficult it is? Let's go over here to Bitcoin. Let's go back to the 2017 top over here. All right. Exiting the top is going to be extraordinarily difficult. The edge that we have over just about everyone else is very few are going to be looking at the top. Most people think we're topping in December or after. A lot of people think we're having a super cycle. A lot of people have been Michael Saylor-ized and will never sell their Bitcoin. Be very, very careful. It's going to be extraordinarily difficult to exit at the top. Look at this type of price action over here. If this is what we were experiencing in real time, and I know the exit, the time is very important. We have the window of where we're starting to look, right? Just picture right now, this was the end of September, and I'm seeing price go vertical. Price going from, up 50% in 2 days. There's a good chance I'm exiting over here. There's a great chance that I'm exiting into this vertical pump. I do not catch the top, right? Price comes back down and kicks back up, right? There's a great chance I would not have caught the top over there and trying to exit if you're seeing that similar price action take place, that big vertical punch up. That's where I'm exiting. I'm not going to get the top. And how you get the top, that's very debatable. And if you could, now how far away from the top is that? Let's say you exit it at 16,000, 18%. And again, in my opinion, you're a hero if you exit within 25% of the top. Giving yourself that little bit of leeway takes a lot of pressure off yourself. If you think that you're going to get the top tick, I think that you're deluding yourself, right? And if you have those type of expectations on yourself, I think that you're setting yourself up for failure because you're going to exit, price is going to go higher, you're going to FOMO back in. You got to be confident in yourself. You have to be confident in your analysis to be able to make a decision like that and then hold and stick to it. It's very, it's probably the exit is probably the most difficult thing there is. It's why I spend the most time preparing you for it. And I'm letting you know today, and I'm letting you know right now, and it's really difficult. It's really, really difficult. I'm preparing that for you to give you an advantage when it's time to exit. There's nothing easy about it. It's one of the most difficult things there is. Most people, by the way, there's also a bit of forgiveness in it. Forgiveness in it. What do I mean by that? If you miss the exit, right? If you miss the exit and then price dumps, right? Whether or not it's like 40%, 50%, and that happens relatively quickly, right? It's the Wall Street cheat sheet. It's the psychology of a market cycle. It happens at each and every top. You get then the bounce. That bounce is generally or close to 50% from the high to the low, or that's a good area at least to exit about 50% of that move. You don't have to get the top, right? And that's a forgiven exit. So that's a lot of people, that might be the exit for them, right? And that's a good one as well. It's almost just as good, right? So if you're talking about you're going to be averaging out, well, play that into your averaging out as well. Maybe it's your final third, maybe it's your final quarter, maybe it's your final half, but you have that ability after price dumps, the bull market's over, on the bounce. And on this bounce, by the way, almost every single one out there is going to be just like a deer in headlights, hoping things return to normal. They're going to know inside, this is not normal. Something went wrong, right? By the way, Bitcoin went from 19,600 all the way down to 11,000 in a few days, right? That's not correct. That's not normal. Something's wrong. But then price just as quickly bounced up and everyone's like, oh, okay. Everything's okay. No, it's not. That's your exit. That's your you get lucky, you get one last chance to exit. From there, it's through the floor. Yeah. It's all free. Everything we do here. And there's nothing else like it. So that's good. I'm glad you're skeptical of everything I say and do. That's exactly what you should be. I look at the charts, I share my opinion, and it's to help you increase and solidify your own analysis. I'm not here telling you to do anything at any time. Nothing I say and or do is financial advice, right? Unless you understand how to do these things for yourself, you're never going to make money following anybody. There's no question about that. Boom, 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 boom. Thank you, Space Trucker. Thanks for jumping in here. Red Oz, you bring a strong game on Discord. I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for that. You could copy the just don't copy the share button. There's someone that that's interested in Bitcoin or should be, that you feel should really be making some important moves in their lives. Go ahead and share the link with them. Get them on board over here. Yeah, Zen, that's why we work together. That's why we have 100. Greg, this is the best comment of the day over here. We have 1,100 people uncertain whether they like or what they're hearing. Greg, I love what I'm hearing. I do it for myself. I do it for you. Anyone who gets it, anyone who's conquering the markets to the core is why I do it, right? And if you get it, I know that you're going to be instrumental in changing. It's like a massive domino effect. It's the ripple in the pond, right? Steve Jobs, wanting to create a wrinkle in the universe. What we're doing, a ripple in the universe, that's what we're doing here each and every day. There's no question about that. People just want things to unfold very quickly. Bill Gates is the one who said people underestimate what they could achieve overestimate what they could achieve in 2 years and underestimate what they could do in 10. Could you imagine the impact we will have on the world 10 years from now? I don't think that we ever will. I think that it will be at some point while we are in blessed eternity that we get the understanding of what it is we accomplished. And I'm great with that. It's not about seeing what you accomplished. It's actually about concretely changing and affecting people's lives, right? What else are we looking at over there? Thank you, Johnny Utah. Love the name. Laser eye focus. Dinkar, what's up, my brother? Yeah. All right. Now we have two different trend lines, Jimmy Doe, right? I could remove that one. I was wrong on that, right? I'll move that. There you go. Clean that up for you. There's no question this is the bull flag, right? And what does that tell you? Well, all right. So I apologize. What am I doing? Look, anyway, it's, I don't think I was wrong. I think I acted correctly. But look, we peaked out into the tip over here. This was a long wick over here. I think going forward, you could play it either way. I'm going to put that back in 1 second, right? When I put this line in, I put the line in because I had the resistance here. This is when a lot of people were looking at a descending triangle, by the way. And I was like, wait, I see a point over here of resistance. And then I see a few times that market came into support. So I was focused in on that line for those reasons. And then to be fair, before we even broke down over there, on my chart over here, I did this, I was watching what would happen if I break down lower. And I did expect on a test of this one that it didn't hold, but I wanted that line there, right? And now going forward or going backward or going in the future, next time this happens, the reason I'm spending this extra time here is for myself right now. But I also wanted to be aware not just of that resistance, which I was hoping then became support, but over here, this was the more important one. This one was support. And then you have the touch over there, right? And that's currently holding. So I will clean that up now that the point has been made, right? Sometimes when I see or take something in, I'll kind of leave it on my chart. If I'm not live with you all, I want to make sure that everyone else learns the lesson and is on the same page as myself. And that's what I am. I'm a student of the market. There's no question about that. It's what I do each and every day. I'm not trying to impose my will on the market. I'm looking at what the market's doing, reacting according to what the market's doing, so I stay on the right side of the trade. And I'm looking each and every day to share with myself and you what the lessons the market's giving me, right? So that's what's happening over here. Woo! That's a mouthful. That's right, Rusted. I could use 1 second here of let's say a sip of coffee and also a breath of fresh air. Let me drop head snack for all of us. It's coming. Get ready for it. Let me go ahead and pull that up right here, right now, and drop it in it right now.
Analyzing the charts, hitting projected targets within the margin. Find the flow, sip the matcha, and wait for the waves to come in with lobsters. The kind-hearted Jordan Fosters, working smarter, not harder to move the markers. On his way to conquer, trading and investing, drinking the coffee while reflecting on the blessing. The markets are not crashing. The prices might be slashing just to pretend they're in fashion. Take a like button, comments, and smash it. Boom, boom, Jordan in the room. Grab the bull by the horns and to the moon. Flow from the plateau, make the play. Boom, boom, it's a taco day.
It's a taco day. It's a taco day.
Big shout out. Lots of love to Head Snack. Thank you, my brother, Jimmy Doe. Got a good question over here, Jimmy. Let's check it out. Let me blow up the chart over here. Jimmy's asking, listen, I lightened up on my leverage with you on a false trend line. Would it be a better strategy if we jump right back in after an error? No. Jimmy, listen, and then come back down to the 2 hour with you over here. It's not an error at all, in my opinion. All right. It's not an error. I'm clarifying for you, but at the same time, this is what I focused in on. This was the trend line as we broke down. This right here, by the way, this was the lower trend line I had of the bull flag. And then we bounced up. Once we touched that resistance and confirmed this broken trend line into this broken trend line support as resistance, and as we made the lower low right here, that's why I lightened up on my lightly leveraged position. And I would do it again and again. And then as I lightened up and we broke down, I pointed out this right here. And I pointed out on the live stream, the photo I shared in Discord in real time. I said, watch that level. We're into that support, right? But I'm not just jumping back in as price came back above here. You can see right now, this was why I acted, right? On that breakdown, retest, resumption down, right? And right here, until we repair, get back above that trend line, I'm not looking to re-enter. And it's not going to be a spike above, right? Now, if we spiked above here and start shooting up like a rocket and break this one, yeah, that's when I'll make sure I'm back in the trade, regardless of what happens, right? Of course, if that falls apart, it's easy to manage my risk. I know when I need to lighten back up, but I'll make sure that I'm participating. On a break above here, I'm not entering yet. I'm going to wait for a retest. If we get the retest and resume off of it, that's my first entry. But it's not an error, Jimmy. It's not an error at all. It is absolutely perfect TA and perfectly managed. And you have to be risk adverse. You want to be fully positioned, not as things are under pressure, but as things are looking very bullish with a pure and perfect technical repair. That's that. All right. Boom, boom. Yeah. And that's all. All right. And we just want everyone to make sense. Is it an inverted head and shoulders we're looking at on the bottom? Ooh, I don't see that. Dan, I'm not saying it is or it isn't. I'm looking at the 2 hour. Maybe you were looking at the 8 hour. Is that a left shoulder, head and right shoulder that you're looking at? Look, it has the structure in place, but where's your neckline? That's not something I would be looking at, but good question. Anyone, Russell, I love it. Please always point out my imperfections. There are many. Anyone notice how Jordan says his H's like Y's? I'm human, and it's going to be huge. Must be that New York accent. Thanks for all you do, Russell. That's awesome. Thank you for pointing that out. That's absolutely beautiful. I love it. Right? Connect the highs and clone, please. What do you mean? I'm not sure. Are you, this is what you're, no, I'm not sure. Are you this? Hold on. Let's do it. It's Friday. This is Friday. We get to have fun together, right? So you're trying to connect these two over here, right? And then clone this and bring it down. And let's see if that structure held. Yeah, is that what you're trying? I don't see that, but if that's what you were trying to do, I'm not sure or not, right? What else? Nothing. I don't have it. I don't look at the weekly chart. I don't have a thought on that. And I'm not, listen, here's the thing. There are so many different ways you could approach the markets. That's the problem with the markets, is that you get to decide what you're going to do, and you basically have unlimited choices, right? How many indicators are there? A gazillion? I have no idea. The way that I approach the markets, and I have to say, I don't know of a better way, is trading off price alone, off the market structure of support and resistance, with the help secondary of trend lines and chart patterns. It has kept me laser focused, dialed in to every move of the market better than any other edge or way to approach it that I know of. It's what I do and how I do it. Could you use moving averages? Could you use fib levels? Could you use wackadoodles? You could use anything, and maybe if you're really good at being risk adverse, managing trades, managing your position size, and managing your risk, be profitable doing it. Does it offer a greater edge than what I do and what we do? I sincerely don't think it comes close. Boom, 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 boom. Moon phases, definitely. You know, moon, especially when Mars is crossing the orbit of a moon. That's a big deal. That could, and if Venus is actually a little bit out of orbit at the same time, that's an explosive pattern. I don't like to talk about that too often, only when it's actually in play. But we'll talk about that as that occurs for sure. That's a big one, you know? What else are we looking at? Can you believe someone is so shook about the free world they give that a thumbs down? Oh my goodness. I was kidding about the Venus part. The Venus part does not play at any role in that pattern whatsoever. I was kidding about that. Boom, boom. Anyway. The wackadoodle, Boomer. You picked up on the wackadoodle, right? You guys are great. I love it. I love spending my time with you. There's no question about that. Clone your prime trend line a few times. It will auto-populate with the great levels. Amazing algo life. Sean, I do that on the log scales that I shared with you. A great video on the Bitcoin playlist is log scale looking at price targets for the bull market phase over here. And when I clone it, I let it auto-populate and it puts it in exactly where it should go. I love doing that over there. What else? Someone's looking at Theta. I just want to pull up a chart and just be familiar with what's happening. Oof. Crazy moves. There's no question about that, right? Last time we saw something with crazy moves, just be aware. So anyway, everything is set up here. Really, really nice. When I say everything is set up, the markets are really coiled over here. Is today's event, the expiration of options, going to be the catalyst that takes any type of, let's say, overhanging clouds over the market out of the way and behind us? And then are we going to see a massive push up? Maybe if it happens, we know our levels on the charts. That's when we get involved. There's no need to be preemptively involved. By the way, the market does like to provide trickery, right? So is it possible here that we have, people buy in all of a sudden and then we take out this swing low? I'm prepared for it if it happens. I feel really good because I have a plan in place, knowing that if price goes up or down, I know when and where to act and make sure that we are ready for it. That's not a cup and handle, by the way. That's not a cup and handle. Is it the same idea as a cup and handle? Similarly, when I said, is that the same idea as the structure of a reverse head and shoulders taking place, where, whatever the dynamic that causes a head and shoulders pattern to play out, which I don't know exactly what, is it the same thing playing out there? Well, I believe that could be said. Is it a reverse head and shoulders, inverse head and shoulders pattern? I don't think so. Where's your neckline? All the way up there? Is this a cup and handle? No. Is it to have the same dynamic as a cup and handle? Probably. Okay. Woo. Oh, this could be massively bullish over there. Adam and Eve top. If you're calling a top right now, though, and sincerely, Matt, like a top as in, are we seeing the top of the bull market here? So a lot of people calling $60,000 as the top. They're starting to show the Wall Street cheat sheet and then like putting imaginary lines that we're going to come off down to here. If you're calling a top of the bull market cycle, I mean, I would reassess and strongly, right? We got a long way to go before we start considering or calling the top over here. So local top, perhaps, you're right. If we come down and let's say that if we take out anything below 44,000, 43,000, then you were right about that. And if whether or not that's an Adam and Eve, I don't know, because we made the higher high over here, right? Now, generally, that we wouldn't have the higher high to call that an Adam and Eve. Is that correct? Check it out. There's not too much I know about TA. When I sincerely, like this is wackadoodle Jordan style what I do over here. But I believe that they would be level. And same thing with a cup and handle. A cup and handle is going to have that level price before the pullback, right? But anyway, what do I know? FX, David. Let me take a look around. I don't really want to get too into it. I think when it comes to Friday, you should really be leaning on Heath's weekend weekly Forex for the week ahead in FX strongly, right? But Adam and Eve is a big one. No, that the reason I called the bottom in December of 2018 was because of the Adam and Eve bottom. The Adam and Eve is a big pattern. There's no question about that. There's no question about that. Man, Chicken Littles. I love it. I don't really want to look at FX, but I want to just take a look at what's going on here. So I'm seeing that, wow. What I'm seeing when I went to the Euro Japanese yen first, this was the weakest of them. Look at that massive move back into that resistance on the Euro Japanese yen. Are we seeing the Canadian dollar and British pound breaking out of those patterns massively, right? Massively. And then here's the pound Japanese yen. Look at this. These are actually conditions of breakouts without getting the retest. It's very rare it happens on FX. It's very rare it happens on FX. Now, does that mean that next week we don't get a retest? No, it does not. But that's a big extension. That's a really big extension that took place on the pound Japanese yen. We're seeing lots of weakness in the yen today. So I went right away to look at the equity markets to see if we're seeing a massive risk on event taking place. I don't see a massive risk on event taking place whatsoever. But I'm noticing that move, and there's the Australian dollar, Japanese yen. You could see the weakness of the Australian dollar relative, right, to the Canadian dollar and the British pound. I want to go back to the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, also that massive move, right? So yesterday, and I said I wasn't sure, right, whether or not that was a breakout and retest occurring, and then I wanted to be safe. So I did this up here, and I continue doing that. It's a big move. I always err on the side of safe. It's funny that the person most apt to take on the most risk amongst all of us here, which I would say is myself, is also at the same time the most risk adverse. I think what that means is I'm willing to take a high degree of risk if it's really calculated, and I believe it to be hence half your net worth into Bitcoin, around 9,000. But anyway, what else are we looking for or at? What else are we looking at? Boom, boom. Yeah, there is an Adam and Eve pattern. And it's also Friday, by the way. You don't want to chase moves on a Friday. We're watching it. If any of these moves right now, we're seeing breakouts occur on the Japanese yen against the Japanese yen. If any of these lead to a retest next week, and by the way, a retest on, for example, the Canadian dollar, Japanese yen, that doesn't mean a retest into that breakdown over there. You can see over here, this is the new area of local support. Even a move back down to there, that offers up a nice entry, right? We'll wait. We'll wait. Let me just take a look around. A couple of things to just, finally, this was a tough one, I said. This is a tough one. Many of you should still be holding this trade from over here, right? And there's no giving up on it. We talked about above here is when you would exit that full position. Many of you should be continue to hold and push that. What does the British pound US dollar look like today, right? I say this is because I'm seeing the dollar not weak at all coming in for that retest. Pound coming into this area of resistance today. I'm going to move that up right over here where we spike down a little bit higher, right? I'm always in the area. But I don't want to put too much of a solid look into here. The reason being is because come Sunday, when the FX opens, Monday in Asia, I'm obviously not looking to take a trade. It's rare that I take a trade Monday in London. Normally, I'm waiting for the Monday morning New York session to do my strong analysis and then waiting to Tuesday night in London as my first opportunity to perhaps act, right? So as a young trader, Asia opened up Monday morning and I'm firing off trades like crazy. And not to say a lot of those trades, there's a lot of volatility as the market prices in all that weekend's price action. But overall, I realized that being much more of a sniper, being patient and waiting and picking my setups provided much greater and consistent returns. Once you find out how to make money, then discipline is no longer an option. Once you find out how to make money, there's no such thing as a lack of discipline. So a lot of new traders are like, oh, I don't have discipline. It's because you don't know how to make money. Once you understand what it requires, what it takes to make money, then all of a sudden discipline's not a problem. There's no way that you would do anything outside that. So what else are we looking at today? What's Bitcoin doing as it comes in to test over here? We all have our levels. We're all watching. And that's what it is. And that's where we are. Right? So the largest amount of options, by the way, were on Debit. The largest amount of options take place on Debit. What time that expires, I'm not exactly sure. I'm watching price and I'm watching the technical levels, but I believe that Pure Vita said it was 12 p.m. Eastern, noon Eastern time. Bullish channel, January, February highs, close trend that connects swing bulls. That's not a spam, brother. Oh, you posted it a few times? Yeah, let's check out Ethereum, Bitcoin, which has been really just sideways for a long time, right? Ethereum, Bitcoin putting in. Oh, so this is worth noting, by the way. Just let me clean this up so you get a better look at it with myself. All right, let me clean up all this stuff. I want to just give you a very clear idea of what's taking place right now. Look at this trend line. This is an important trend line over here. Look that we're testing it right now. If we break down over here, which is a possibility, we could see greater pressure on Ethereum versus Bitcoin. But we're at an important level over here. If price holds and we zoom off here, we're going to see Ethereum continue to outperform. I don't see an edge. This was the place to attack. We attacked here. We attacked here. But since we've come back down, I see greater opportunity, greater edge playing Bitcoin versus the dollar, playing Ethereum versus the dollar. It's just a lot clearer. I don't see the edge here right now. This was definitely the place and time to attack on the trend line break. It's still bullish. This is long term. What we could see is breakout, retest, and if we get a resumption off, and is it possible we take out this swing high? And if we do, are we going significantly higher? Yes. All of those things are true. All of those things could happen. But is it safe to get into the water here? No. Is it a lot safer to get into the water up here? Yes. Right? Cardano breaking out. Wow. Wow. Cardano breaking out, right? Beautiful. Beautiful move against the dollar. Beautiful move versus Bitcoin. Wow. Beautiful. Brandon, crypto trades and tech, remains laser focused and dialed in to Cardano. Make sure if you're not subbed, go to my YouTube channel, the homepage, scroll down, you'll see Heath Trade Talk, and you'll see Brandon, crypto trades and tech. Both of them conquering the markets to the core. We have an amazing community here. The best there is. The best there ever is. 4 p.m. London, 12 p.m. New York time. Thank you, Alan. Speaking of best there is, make sure you're following Alan AU on Twitter. Make sure you're following the massively great chart work of Alan P on Discord. Make sure you're following Gene and Greg's work on the Conquering the Markets mechanical channel on Discord. You guys are all the best there ever was. All right, what else? That's right. DeFi excellence requires discipline and work ethic. If you're a trader, musician, athlete, makes no difference. Discipline is key. No matter how much talent you have, Without discipline, you are nothing. Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful, Defiant. Beautiful. Yeah, Robert. Am I solid at poker? Yeah, I like playing poker. I think if you're a trader, you should play poker. No question about it. Yeah, I'm the type of player, right? Man, well, I'll tell you what. I don't bluff. I don't bluff. And everyone knows I don't bluff. Therefore, I reserve the right to be able to bluff at any time because no one will know. Everyone thinks I don't bluff, so I could bluff anytime I want because I don't bluff. But at the same time, I'm the person that you sit down at the table and you got 8 people and I don't have a good hand. I'll fold it 12 times in a row. Who's got that type of discipline? That's the type of discipline you need in trading. That's the type of discipline you need in poker. Absolutely. That's important to point out because there's a great deal of correlation between the way you play poker and the way that you trade the markets. So that's why I picked up on that comment. No question about that. What else are we looking at, friends? What else are we looking at? Yeah, that would be fun. That would be awesome. Elias, if you could set that up, I would love it. I would play it. That would be fun to connect with all of you. And by the way, the last time I played poker, though, just a heads up, was probably about, I'll say, at least, within the last 12 months once. And then within the last 8 years, I would say less than a dozen times. In Mexico, there's not too many poker players, and the game takes a really long time to play. It's the Mexican culture. It just is what it is. It's a lot different. So, but I would love it, Yeah, I use them a lot. What the question was, what platform do I use for trading, for executing trades? I use a lot. I don't talk about blah blah blah. I don't talk about blah blah blah. I don't talk about execution. I talk about what's going on with price. All right, Polkadot. I'm trying to clean up my charts going forward from now on. I have way too much going on TradingView. All right. So what are we looking at? Lagging. And this is your cheat sheet. Every time we have a pullback, we all know that this is your cheat sheet, right? Right? That's your cheat sheet. If you clone this line, by the way, did you see the support being put in over there? But it was a time I would not enter. We covered this yesterday. Even though yesterday we said, okay, it looks like alts are breaking out versus Bitcoin. I would not take those trades because if Bitcoin loses that last bit of swing low and then dumps hard, they'll be under pressure as well. No question about that. You want to wait for the resumption off. Now, you're preemptive here versus other markets. When I say other markets, I don't care if it's stocks. I don't care if it's the indexes. I don't care if it's futures. I don't care if it's the metals. I don't care if it's commodities. Whatever it is, it's different in crypto where you could take the breakout. FX, you can't. And every other market, you wait for breakout, retest, resumption. On crypto, you can play the breakout because that's what occurs often. It's the characteristic of it. But you got to wait and you got to watch your level. I don't bluff. I just make it known every time I don't bluff so that I could bluff that one time if ever need be. Yeah. Eyes trained, but thank you for that comment over there. I love it. Trying to pick up on your comment over there. I keep thinking how you explain your edge, trading live price movement over the nearest support resistance levels with secondary trendline confluence. This is how I gain more success and has been my approach for a while. I'm just so happy and grateful to hear that what we do here has helped lead to your success. By the way, there is a plethora amount of people here who have been achieving great success, and I attribute it all to them. I attribute it to each and every one of you. You're the ones who have, listened to what we're doing over here, and you're the one who put in the work. Like, I'm showing you what's going on. You're the ones who are taking that in and translating that into what you do. you know? So I applaud each and every one of you. And that's what makes me the happiest. Yeah. Thank you, my brother. Thank you for that. Thank you, Zen. I think we're gonna go out, with some honeymoon over here. Yeah. Oh, Dan, I was just gonna say I'm gonna go out with the honeymoon over here, and then if it brings up any thoughts, or we go on a rant afterwards, we'll do it. I'm in no rush to get out of here. But at the same time, what is my most excited about for my kids? Yeah, I think the thing I'm most excited about for my kids is, is when I get to just, all the time take their kids up to the mountains to go skiing. That's what I'm the most excited about, to be close to my family forever. That's what I'm most excited about. I don't care what it is. It's just each and every day, just being in the moment, just being with them. Whatever's going on, trying to appreciate it. We got a lot of little kids. Not every moment is smooth and easy. There's a lot of patient love going on all the time. But just the fact that we get to share life together, that's what I'm grateful for. And that's how I feel about when I'm online with all of you. Every time I start, I'm just grateful to be here. And I'm just grateful to share this moment in time with all of you. And that's as sincere as it is, I'm going to play just to give myself a tiny break here, a little bit of honeymoon, and then we'll see where that brings us. I almost did a muted rant. That wasn't even a rant. Just a couple of things over here. Let me talk about Justin, first of all. I want to talk about what I think of NFTs. But Justin, the course is designed and made so that all the modules and training sessions and past training sessions are watched and viewed in your own time at your own pace. It really does not matter if you're there for a live training session or you're watching the replay of it. The material and the essence is exactly the same. So that's irrelevant, Justin. But Justin, you've been here for a long time. We would love to have you much more in that more intimate and closer connection, unquestionably, about that. What do I think about NFTs? Listen, this is what I think about NFTs. I think that every single one of us among us should be exploring innovation and technology and just playing with it, right? Whether or not something is going to stick around or is worth it, that's a different scenario. I am zero interested in NFTs as far as an investment or anything like that. Do I think that, that you should understand what they are and why people are interested in them? 100%, 100%. Do I think that they are a scam? Look, I leave that to the Bitcoins who really identify as maximalists, and not maximalists like I identify as a maximalist, as that, yes, I believe that Bitcoin is Bitcoin, and anything built upon Bitcoin anything that could be built anywhere else, like all altcoins are testing grounds for Bitcoin, will eventually be built upon Bitcoin, or that it's the only trade that matters. But at the same time, like, listen, it's not Bitcoin if I can't take the competition. Come at me, because let the strongest will survive. There's no question about that. And I'm not afraid, or I'm not like, oh, well, Ethereum is sucking away capitalization that should belong to Bitcoin. No, it's not. It's a market. Ethereum could exist side by side or above Bitcoin, or whatever the market determines it should be. Ethereum is not a threat to Bitcoin, and if it's a threat to Bitcoin, then Ethereum and other Xcoin XYZ is better than Bitcoin, So I welcome all of it. Do I think that you should be buying a pixel on the internet? I don't think so. So, but should you be exploring it and understanding it? Oh, I definitely think so. Oh, this is a good one too. I got to come back to this. The best channel for TA on the internet. Huh. I'm not really sure about that. I'm not really sure. Do you think there's another channel that compares for the Bex Forex TA? Suman, we have on this channel about 15 months of TA. I would say 85% of it only focused on Forex TA. The course itself, hyper focused on Forex TA. There's not another place that even comes close to comparing. Period. The end. All right. Let's go. Let's try to get some honeymoon in here. Humble to the core. There's not another channel that compares. Period. The end. Humble to the core. Thank you, Rich. Kimmy, peace, my brother. Oh my God, Jeff. Thank you so much. The most important thing out there. A big, extraordinary, not only shout out, but heart full of gratefulness to the moderators. You are absolutely godsend. You too, Jeff. Have a great weekend. Thank you, my friend. Thank you, Jason. Me too, DeFi. Thank you so much for this. Thank you so much for this, Andre. Did I do it again? I didn't even realize I did it this time. I don't know. I don't know. We will be watching. Thank you, Christian, and thank you to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being such an important part of my life. You are all very extraordinarily important to me. You're all my family. I'm grateful for each and every one of you. I'm grateful for that ripple in the universe that we're all going to create together, having the greatest impact we can on this world. The purpose of this channel as it started, it hasn't changed from the about section since day one. Ultimately, my goal is to affect the greatest amount of people's lives around the world that I can. That's what we're doing here together each and every day. Have a beautiful day, everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.